Movie recap of the Axiom 2018. The movie begins with a girl named Jessica who is being forced at gunpoint by a man to go to the forest. As Jessica walks ahead, a bizarre creature slits her throat and kills her. Her eyes turn white. In the next scene, 5 friends named Mackenzie, her brother Martin, Martin's girlfriend Darcy, and their 2 friends, namely Garrick and Edgar, are riding in a car. They're searching for Martin and Mackenzie's sister Marilyn in the forest. They start towards a place named Cinder Park because a man named Lion tells them Marilyn was last seen in Cinder Park. On the way, when they stop, Mackenzie takes some pages out of Marilyn's diary and puts them in the car. They reach the house of Leon, who has told them the whereabouts of Marilyn. Leon gives gadgets to Mackenzie and says she might need them later. He also gives her a cell phone to contact him later. He gives her drugs and tells her to drink them before she goes to the park. She tells him that Marilyn has written in her diary that there is a gate in the forest, namely the Axiom. He approves of her sister's genius and says the Axiom exists in reality. Martin enters the house and sees Leon putting the gadgets in Mackenzie's bag. Before they leave, Leon gives them his wife's pictures and says that the last time his wife visited the park, her necklace went missing, and if they find one, they must give it to him. After traveling for some time, they reach the park. Mackenzie stops in the park and tells Garrick to go in a different direction. They all follow Garrick and move in the same direction. As they move ahead, Edgar sees Jessica standing in front of them. Surprisingly, no one else could see her except Edgar. Thus, Edgar feels he is hallucinating and he eats his medicines. Even after the clock strikes 9 at night, they still see light in the forest. A little farther, they see a cabin that is locked. They presume that Marilyn was camping around the cabin, so Martin starts searching for her there. Mackenzie breaks the lock with an axe. As Edgar and Mackenzie enter the cabin, they find things belonging to 1957. Mackenzie tries to open a small box lying on the table. Later, she takes out the picture of Lion's wife and the photo is of Jessica. Edgar asks her where she got the photo, as he's just seen the same girl. On the other hand, Martin and Darcy are making out. Martin feels that someone is trying to choke Darcy, but it is his hallucination, and they run towards the other fellows. A man appears in the cabin and tries to choke Mackenzie when she is alone. In the meantime, she drinks the drug that Leon had given her. Soon after, the man disappears. She yells at the top of her lungs, and her companions rush into the cabin. They now open the small box, where they see Leon's wife's necklace. Later, Edgar feels thirsty and goes out to drink water. Martin reads the pages of Marilyn's diary and finds out that the place where they are now is so dangerous. Mackenzie hides this information from them. They ask Mackenzie where they are now, and Mackenzie tells them they're in another world. Martin, being angry, throws away the drug that Leon had given him. He tells others to pack their luggage and walk out of the forest. They start camping there. Mackenzie sets out to search for Edgar, who has not yet returned. When she does not find Edgar, she makes a call to Leon and asks him what is going on there with them. She tells him about their current situation. Leon tells her that some creatures are controlling her friends' minds. He advises her to leave the forest as soon as possible, along with her friends. When Mackenzie goes to visit her friends, she finds a bizarre creature around her friends. As she averts her eyes, she finds no such creature over there. She encourages her friends to use the drugs. All of a sudden, they hear Darcy's cries. They see that Edgar has tied Darcy with a rope and is hurting her with a knife. Edgar then stabs Darcy and she becomes severely injured. Martin smacks Edgar on the head with a piece of wood and ties him up with chains. Garrick sustains some injuries as well. Since Darcy and Garrick are too injured to walk, Martin asks Mackenzie to ask for help from someone. As Mackenzie goes out of the cabin, she sees Jessica standing there. They get panicked and then Mackenzie dials 911 for help. But Leon picks up the call and he asks her whether they saw her wife. Mackenzie tells him that his drug is ineffective because they are still having visuals. But Leon replies that his wife is not a vision but a reality. He says her wife's body has the same demon as Edgar's. He advises them to leave the cabin and go to a safer place as soon as possible. He further tells them that if they go away from the cabin with his wife's necklace, they can then find Marilyn. He wants them to return to the forest through the same portal they used to enter. Mackenzie runs towards the portal that Leon tells her about so that she can ask for help. Martin goes to see Edgar, but he finds him in a different position. He says to Martin that those creatures will come and take him away soon. When he returns to the cabin, he sees Garrick nowhere. He goes out to find Garrick while telling Darcy to stay inside. On the other side, Darcy follows Edgar's voice. Edgar chokes her with the chains. Seeing this, Martin stabs Edgar, but it does not cause any harm to him as he has become a demon. He eats his own injured fingers. Martin runs away from there. Mackenzie does not find the path to the outside world and returns to the cabin, but she finds Garrick in the way. Now Garrick is also under the control of those creatures. He attacks Mackenzie, but she evades his attackers one way or another. Martin also arrives at the location where Garrick has attacked Mackenzie. They see Darcy, who is already dead, standing there with an axe in her hand. She hits Garrick with the axe and tears his belly, and he dies. Martin and Mackenzie flee from there. Martin runs to the cabin to get the phone. As Mackenzie is alone, Jessica again appears before her. Running away from her, Mackenzie unknowingly follows the path that leads to the real world. And she goes to the real world. Two boys inject anesthetic drugs into Mackenzie, and she faints. As she returns to her senses, she sees Leon, and she angrily says that if anything bad happens to her brother, she will not leave him. He tells her that her brother is alive and that she need not worry. On the contrary, several boys enter another Axiom and challenge one another to see how many creatures they can kill. Vehemently, Mackenzie tells Leon that the boys are mad and they do not know how awful the scenario is inside the Axiom. Leon tells her that he sent her wife to the forest, and that is why he sends other people to the forest. He does not disclose the reason why he sent his wife to the Axiom. He further tells her that he sent Marilyn and her friends to the Axiom, but she survived for 3 weeks in the forest, and he shows her that her sister is still alive. He puts 2 options before Mackenzie, either save her brother or sister. She decides that first she will save her sister and then her brother. Later, when they are entering an Axiom, she asks him where these Axioms come from. He tells her that in the 1950s the government took control of the land where they conducted experiments. When the government left the forest, the people found as many as 6 doorways there after some time. People went missing and others returned. The locals of the area know that, but they have kept it a secret for the tourists. Because the government comes to know about this, it may come again and they may lose their homes. Next, they reach the Axiom where Marilyn is. As Mackenzie enters, she finds Marilyn. Marilyn slits her throat and dies on the spot. Mackenzie goes out of the Axiom and snatches the gun from Leon. Later, she enters another Axiom to save Martin, but Leon tricks her and snatches the gun from her. Before Leon has almost chopped Mackenzie, Jessica turns out and kills Leon. Mackenzie flees from there and reaches the cabin, but she sees Martin nowhere in the cabin. She becomes hopeless because she thinks that she has lost her brother too. Hence, she shouts to the monsters to take her away as they did with her friends. Suddenly, Martin comes there, which makes her very happy. Martin, on the other hand, is now under the control of those monsters. He stabs Mackenzie to death. After that, Mackenzie too came under the control of the demons. The movie ends with an abrupt conclusion. No one is clear as to where these bizarre creatures come from or why they kill innocent people. Thanks for watching this video. For more thrilling and horror movie recaps, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel.